Hey, I'm Travis Downey. This is Adam Pruiett. We are bringing you the first edition of the Northwest Florida Daily News' Prep Football Blitz, where each week we will take a look at the week that was and preview the week coming up and get you set for Friday night. And Adam, last week was preseason, kickoff classic weekend, had games on Thursday and Friday nights. What did you take out of that first week or so of action?
I consider it like the NFL preseason. I don't put much stock into it because you're only seeing the varsity teams for a half. I think the biggest thing would have to be probably Fort Walton Beach beating Niceville 20-3. They're probably the team to beat in the area right now, and they've got this extremely imposing defense. So if there was a storyline out of that, I would say it would have to be probably the Fort Walton Beach defense.
Was really impressed out of that game. Was really impressed with the way that defense swarmed with football, and they did it. The varsity was in the first half, but they did it for 4 quarters. So like you just mentioned, that defense is going to be a unit to watch. Elsewhere, Niceville is going to try to put behind them what has to be one of the most difficult weeks those young men will ever experience with the passing of a teammate. They're going to open their season at home with West Gadsden, and really, I think, this is one of those weeks, it's been one of those weeks where football gets put in its place, especially on the campus of Niceville and high schools around this area. It's a game. It's just that. But looking at the game, Niceville returned a lot of talent from last year. Rick Whitten looked pretty good in that kickoff classic. He was faced with a pretty tough defense to be thrown in there against, but Rick Whitten handled it well. Should be interesting to see. I think Niceville is the class of their division. They're one of the stronger programs in the area, year in and year out. So it'll be interesting to see how these kids are able to perform on Friday night. And then that leads us to our game of the week. Fort Walton Beach opening the season with an opponent they're pretty familiar with in Milton. Milton, of course, beat them twice last year. First to open the season, and then again later in the year in the first round of playoffs to end the Viking season. So, big game, 2 big teams. What do you see in this matchup?
I see Fort Walton Beach looking to make a statement. Their defense in particular, Milton was one of the few teams last year that actually had success against that unit. Fort Walton Beach's defense is the best in the area, hands down. The question for them is going to be how good is their offense progress. Can they score 20-plus points a game? There's probably going to be a time where they need to do that. Last year, the offense showed flashes of being really good, but, overall, they kind of grinded it out and relied on their defense, and I'd like to see progress in that area, and if there is, this team could be extremely special.
You mentioned the defense. I spoke with Akeem Spence and asked him about that, because last year they gave up 37 and 31 points in those 2 meetings. Asked him if the revenge may be a factor, and here's what he had to say.
Everybody's really focused, mentally, and everybody's just ready to play because, as for Milton, this is a revenge factor this year. The team, everybody's focused, can't nobody around here good. They know it's time to put in work, and that's how we feel, and we're not going to lose off. And then we want our fans to know that this is not like a whole new team, got new decals and everything, so this is a whole new season for us.
Do you think this team is capable of pulling off a victory, first game of the year against Milton this year?
I'm certainly going to bet on that, or I shouldn't say bet on that.
No betting around. Yeah, we don't condone that here at Northwest Florida Daily News.
I'm definitely going to pick Fort Walton to win it. I do think the defense is going to play with something of a chip on their shoulder, and I think this unit is focused anyway. I think they want revenge, but I think this team is focused and motivated just to win, period. They don't need the extra incentive.
I'm going to agree with you. I'm going to agree with the fact that Fort Walton Beach returned so many key cogs on that defense. The offense has looked strong in preseason. So I'm going to take Fort Walton Beach also. Let's run through these games. Let's give them our picks real quick. Start with Baker at Bozeman.
I'm actually going to go with Bozeman on this one. Bozeman handled Baker pretty good twice last year. From what I've read, Bozeman has got good athletes back, and we'll see if Baker can kind of work out their offense and keep the turnovers to a minimum. If they do, I think they can win this game. But if they don't, I think Bozeman we'll win again.
I'm going to go with Bozeman also, just for the fact that they have so many guys returning. And like you said, defenses are going to be focusing on Cameron Domain until he proves that he can make those plays in the passing game. It's going to be difficult for those guys. Choctaw at Gulf Breeze.
I'm going to go with Choctaw on this one. I don't think it's an easy call, just because, again, Choctaw's offense didn't score last week. Gulf Breeze, it seems like they played pretty decent against Crestview, getting beat 15-9 varsity-wise. That's a nice tight game, and I expect big things out of Crestview. So I'll take Choctaw, but I don't think it'll be easy.
Yeah, I like Choctaw just because of the way the defense looked last week. I think that's going to be a key to their season, winning the battle in the trenches. That's what Greg Thomas has kind of been selling to his players all off season. So it looks like it's working, at least in the early stages. You mentioned Crestview. They're at Jacksonville-Paxton. What do you think?
I expect Crestview to win this one and win this one big. Crestview is going to be an impressive team. I would say they're probably not the favorite to win the district, but to finish right behind Fort Walton. And I would think that's going to play out. And I know Coach Matt Brunson and his Bulldogs would expect that, and they expect to vie for a district title.
Yeah, Brunson is pushing those guys. I mean, it's fun to watch them practice. I'm going to go with Crestview also. We've already talked about Milton and Fort Walton Beach. Walton at Freeport. Interesting game.
I would expect Walton to win this one pretty big. They did last year. Walton is just so athletic, and they're so capable of big plays. Freeport is going to have to guard against that, and they're just probably not going to be able to the entire night. I say that. Freeport, I believe, through Cole Weeks, quarterback, threw 4 touchdown passes last week, so they look like, their offense is in good position.
I'm going to go with Walton for speed. Just too much speed. Rutherford at Navarre.
To me, this is a really tight one again. Navarre handled Rutherford pretty easy last year, but Navarre lost so much. Since it's at home, and I think, Navarre, Michael Pettis, they've got some playmakers, so I'll go with them in a close game.
Pettis is a hard back to hem in. I'm going to go with Navarre largely because they're at home also. I like to go to home team. West Gadsden at Niceville.
Niceville is going to win this one big, I would think. They're coming off an emotional week, but, I think maybe getting back on the football field will do them some good, and they'll win this one pretty easy.
Niceville prevails in that one. Franklin County at South Walton.
Go with South Walton, and I would go with them pretty big. South Walton, I believe, won the game pretty easily last year, and South Walton should be as good, if not better, and I think they expect to be better this year.
I agree with that. And then finally, Rocky Bayou. First ever football game at Rocky Bayou on the campus. John Reeves has been waiting for this for months now. These players, they've been waiting for this for months now. Not sure if they know what to expect.
Yeah.
What do you expect?
It's probably going to be a mess. And it's actually at Destin Middle School, so we want to clarify that. It's not on Rocky's Bayou's campus per se. But hopefully it's kind of a glorious mess for them. You expect the kids will be nervous. There's going to be broken plays. They're going to try their hardest, and they'll probably make mistakes just because of that. I actually think they're going to win. Rocky Bayou's got a nice turnout of kids. They're going to be playing teams with a minimum amount of kids. So that's one big reason why they expect to be successful. They could have more talent than opposing teams right off the bat, and I'll give them a win in their debut.
We're going to have to be down that experience curve as the season goes all throughout. I'm also going to say Rocky Bayou just for the fact that they're going to be so amped up for this game, and they've been waiting for this moment for so long. They're going to be a hard team to deny on Friday night. That'll do it for this edition of the Blitz. Tune in next Thursday morning. We'll be back. We'll recap these games, see how wrong we were with our picks, and then also set you up for next Friday night.